Welcome to Dumpster Times, issue number 12, the Coke edition. No, we're not talking about that sugary soda stuff that you drink. We're talking about those evil brothers, the Koch brothers. Evil's a heavy loaded word, I know, but when you think of all the things that these guys are doing and have been doing to destroy the planet and life thereon, then I think evil is probably a very suitable word for the Koch brothers. Now, before we get into it, I think we should go inside into a more intimate setting because it gets kind of cold out here this time of the year in the evening. So come on into my dumpster. All right, I apologize for the mess. You can't see it, but I'm surrounded by boxes of file folders and teaching materials from 22 years of public school teaching that I brought home and then immediately began a new career, starting a nonprofit. And then we made it through the first couple years of the pandemic, but it exhausted me and I had to pack it in. I left it in younger hands, brought home more boxes, and here I am, surrounded with boxes and reflecting on a life that brought me to this point. Reflecting on the Koch brothers today. Yes, the Koch brothers takes me right back to 2015 and the Ohio Badass Teachers Group. We were protesting all kinds of things. Koch brothers were part of it all. They were very much into privatizing education, promoting vouchers, making sure that entities, school boards, districts were steering money away from public schools and into the hands of the private schools. That was their thing. And we hated them for it. But recently, just this past week, I heard the name Koch brothers again. And of course, you know, they've still been around. They've still been doing evil things. But this time, it was a picture. It was a picture of the remaining evil Koch brother at Bohemian Grove, that exclusive place for men only, rich men, probably billionaires only. And in that picture is one Clarence Thomas. Now, I have a problem with that, and I hope you have a problem with that. And a lot of people are expressing grave doubts about a Supreme Court justice who is being influenced by very rich men who all are into climate denial, promoting the selling of petroleum products, restricting education, privatizing everywhere. You think that this guy can be fair? You think Clarence Thomas has been fair? He hasn't been fair, and he is not qualified to be on the Supreme Court, and we've got to get him out of there. One of the things that I am always amazed by is how effective Republicans are in getting the pieces into place so that the machinery turns in their direction. Koch Industries set up ALEC in order to use it to get its message out across the country. Okay, so let's see how they're doing. On average, around 1,000 bills based on ALEC model bills are introduced across the nation each year, and around 17%, 1 in 6, become legislation. The New York Times observed, the records offer a glimpse of how special interests effectively turn ALEC's lawmaker members into stealth lobbyists, providing them with talking points, signaling how they should vote, and collaborating on bills affecting hundreds of issues like school vouchers and tobacco taxes. It's pretty awful. And of course, they're funded by all the major planet polluters. Here's the process. Model legislation comes from ALEC. They also give out awards and honorary titles to the legislators and give them access to key leaders for potential corporate donors. The legislators get profits from legislation made law that benefits the corporations. And then campaign contributions come back for the corporations to the legislators. Donations and membership dues, they all belong to ALEC. ALEC provides access to legislation. Round and round the corruption goes. All right, and so these are the policies it's interfering with: civil justice, commerce, insurance and economic development, communications and technology, education, energy, environment and agriculture, health and human services, international relations, tax and fiscal policy. And these are those wonderful members I was telling you about: ExxonMobil, the Corrections Corporation of America. Got to keep that school to prison pipeline running smoothly because there's big bucks there. AT&T, Pfizer, Amway, IBM, Ford, Texaco, Shell Oil, Time Warner, Verizon, Walmart, Philip Morris International, trade associations, foundations such as Koch. Koch Industries has long been represented on the ALEC governing board for almost 20 years and has donated and loaned ALEC well over $1 million. So there we have it, the Koch-ALEC connection. And now you see, when your state is constantly coming up with bills that are destroying public schools, destroying public entities, and promoting privatization, that's the source. And I really hope that there are some smart people who are figuring out how to get Clarence Thomas off the court. He shouldn't be there. While he is on there, the court is entirely suspect. Him and Alito, they've found a lot of that he's been getting a lot of benefits from his rich friends as well. They shouldn't be on the court. They are corrupt, and we have to have a way of getting rid of corrupt officials. So speak up to everyone you know, your politicians, your friends and families. Somehow we got to get him off of there. We got to fight the Koch brothers, because they're the ones who are training all the state legislatures in what to do and how to go about taking over state departments of education. And for example, I'm going to share with you right now a news story. Here is a very recent headline from the Akron Beacon Journal. Judge blocks law to move power over Ohio's K-12 education to governor's office. There is a big battle over who's in charge of what is happening in our K-12 education in Ohio. Mike DeWine wants to get rid of the Board of Education, which has elected members and appointed members on it, and be the one who makes all the decisions on Ohio. He is in his second term of governorship. He will not be able to run again. So he's in a position now, he just won last year, to really mess around with it and make things miserable. So educators said, hey, wait, let's get together, because, you know, we're badass teachers here in Ohio. And let's read what they did. Ohio's plan to change who gets to write statewide education standards is on hold after a Franklin County court judge issued a temporary restraining order Thursday to block the law from going into effect. This is really about the voice of the people, and that there are checks and balances, and that they are able to come to us when they have issues. Ohio State School Board member Antoinette Miranda said, "This case is really important to make sure we still have a voice for the parents, the teachers, the school districts, and everybody else that benefits from education." Miranda and 6 other members of the state board filed a lawsuit Tuesday saying that a plan to move control over statewide standards, textbook recommendations, and strategic planning away from the partially elected board and give those duties to the governor's office was unconstitutional. It is important to be the one in control of the standards, not only because of all the things that you can say, oh, we can't teach that, we can't do that, which is going on all over the country right now and has been going on in Ohio. Also, it puts you in a position to get a lot of donations from people who are going to be creating those educational materials that have to reflect the new standards. You see, every time we do new standards, we need new materials, we need new books, we need new tests, we need new test prep, and teachers need training on the new standards. And people go out and you pay lots of money for those experts who train you on the new standards. I have a confession to make. I worked on those awful Common Core standards for drama. I was roped into it, not really knowing what it was all about. I wasn't there at the beginning. Somebody dropped out. They were smart. And they needed a drama middle school person. And so I stepped in and shared my knowledge and what I thought middle school drama students should know. But you know what? It was totally unfair because I taught at a performing arts school. Kids had drama every day. There's hardly any place in the country where kids are going to have drama every day in a public school setting, unless it is an art school, which should not be put under the same constraints as other schools who have their own unique, should have their own unique ways of delivering their curriculum, whatever it may be, in my opinion. So these State Board of Education folks, they're mostly business related. You might get one or two education people on there so that it looks good, but it's politicians and corporate people who are going to determine what your student is stuck with when they're sitting in their classroom reading that textbook and following the methods of delivering that curriculum. So I got out of public school teaching, but there's kids who need good schools, and we all need to understand that what is taught in our schools is going to affect everybody. So it is apparent that this is a fight that we all must take up, because students of today are tomorrow's citizens. What happens in school affects society at large. We know this. And such a shame to waste those years where kids can be blossoming and figuring out who they are and what they are, with putting all of these restrictions on them and forcing them to follow paths that they may not or should not be on. So that's my education rant. Clarence Thomas, we got to get him out of there. We got to watch our state governments carefully. And it's a lot, I know. It's a lot, but keep up the fight, everyone. I got to get back to cleaning this dumpster. It is such a mess. Oh my God. See you next time.